The New York Mafia is one of the most secretive and notorious criminal organizations in the world, and for decades it has fascinated both law enforcement and the public. When people hear the word mafia, they often think of movie characters, cigar smoke, and men in suits sitting in dimly lit rooms, but the reality of how the mafia actually operates is far more complex. It is not just about violence or glamour. It is about power, money, and control, and it functions like a corporation hidden within the shadows of society. The roots of the mafia in New York go back to the early 20th century when Italian immigrants brought with them the criminal traditions of Sicily, known as La Cosa Nostra, which literally means, our thing. In those early years, different gangs fought bloody wars over control of bootlegging during Prohibition, when alcohol was illegal but in high demand. Out of this chaos rose Charles Lucky Luciano, a man who saw that constant wars were bad for business. Luciano reorganized the criminal underworld into a system that resembled a business empire. He divided New York into 5 families, the Gambino, Genovese, Lucchese, Colombo, and Bonanno families. To settle disputes, he created a ruling body called the Commission. This structure prevented unnecessary wars and made the mafia more stable and profitable. The structure of each family is like a pyramid. At the very top is the boss, or Don, who makes the final decisions and receives a cut of all profits. Below him is the underboss, who handles day-to-day operations and ensures orders are followed. Next is the consigliere, a trusted advisor who is supposed to remain neutral and give wise counsel. Under them are the capos, or captains, who manage crews of soldiers. Each capo is like a department head, responsible for running specific operations and making sure money is sent up the chain. Soldiers are the made men, the official members of the family who have sworn loyalty for life. They handle collections, enforce orders, and sometimes carry out murders. Finally, there are associates, outsiders who work with the mafia but are not initiated. Associates can be drug dealers, gamblers, or corrupt business owners who help generate income. Money always flows upward, while orders and protection flow downward. At the core of this organization is a code of silence known as omerta. Members swear an oath never to cooperate with authorities, even if it means going to prison or dying. Becoming a made man is considered sacred. During the initiation ceremony, a saint's picture is burned in the initiate's hands while he takes an oath of loyalty, promising that if he betrays the family, he will burn like the saint. This code is what made the mafia so difficult to infiltrate. Breaking omerta has only one punishment: death. The mafia is not random in its crimes, it is calculated in how it makes money. Over the decades, the 5 families have controlled a wide variety of illegal and semi-legal businesses. Loan sharking has always been a staple, where mobsters lend money at outrageous interest rates and use threats or violence to collect. Illegal gambling has been another major source of income, from underground casinos to sports betting and numbers games. Extortion is perhaps the most infamous method, where businesses are forced to pay protection money or risk being destroyed. The mafia also gained incredible power by infiltrating labor unions in industries like construction, trucking, and sanitation. With union control, they could demand kickbacks from companies and control which businesses got contracts. Though officially banned by bosses in earlier decades, drug trafficking also brought huge profits, with many members secretly smuggling and selling heroin and cocaine. To hide their profits, mobsters laundered money through legitimate businesses such as restaurants, nightclubs, and construction companies. Despite its businesslike appearance, the mafia is ultimately built on violence. Violence is not random, it is used strategically to eliminate rivals, discipline disobedient members, and send warnings to outsiders. If a soldier or associate disrespects the rules, the consequences are often deadly. High-profile hits like those of Paul Castellano, Joe Gallo, and others were not just personal feuds but calculated moves to maintain order and control. Fear is the glue that keeps the organization intact. One of the mafia's greatest strengths for decades was its ability to corrupt officials. By bribing police officers, judges, and politicians, mob families secured protection from the law. In the mid-20th century, the mafia's influence ran deep in New York politics and business, with entire industries under their control. Garbage collection, shipping, and construction often could not function without mafia involvement. Corruption allowed them to operate in the open while law enforcement looked the other way. But this power began to weaken in the 1980s when the government introduced the RICO Act, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. For the first time, prosecutors could charge entire criminal families instead of chasing individual crimes. Wiretaps, undercover agents, and the testimonies of mobsters who broke omerta helped dismantle the old structure. One of the most famous cases was against John Gotti, the flamboyant boss of the Gambino family. For years, he avoided conviction, earning the nickname, the Teflon Don. But eventually, his underboss, Sammy, the Bull, Gravano, flipped and testified against him, leading to Gotti's life sentence. The arrests of powerful bosses and capos during this era shattered the mafia's dominance in many industries. Still, the mafia did not disappear. It adapted. The five families are smaller and quieter today, but they continue to exist in New York. They have shifted from flashy displays of wealth to a more low-profile lifestyle. Instead of nightclubs and limousines, they focus on blending into normal life. Racketeering, gambling, loan sharking, and extortion still generate money, but newer areas like cybercrime, internet scams, and white-collar fraud have also entered the picture. The organization's survival lies in its ability to adapt without drawing too much attention. Culturally, the mafia remains larger than life. Films like The Godfather and TV shows like The Sopranos have romanticized mob life, portraying criminals as men of honor and loyalty. But the truth is far darker. The mafia is not about family in the loving sense, it is about profit, fear, and betrayal. Loyalty lasts only as long as the money does, and countless members have been killed by their own associates. Behind the image of sharp suits and brotherhood lies a brutal reality where greed and power matter more than blood. So, how does the New York Mafia actually work? It operates like a hidden corporation, structured with bosses, managers, and workers. It survives by enforcing silence, spreading fear, and corrupting officials. It makes money through illegal businesses, laundering profits through legitimate fronts. It disciplines with violence and protects itself through secrecy. While its golden age may be over, its shadow still lingers in New York. The mafia is not just a criminal group, it is a system, one that has outlived wars, law enforcement crackdowns, and even its own betrayals. And though it may be smaller today, the story of the mafia is far from finished.